Good morning, students. This is for 11th class biology, and today we will do the chapter first of biology, that is living world, and this is lecture 1 of chapter 1. So today in this chapter we will discuss about the properties of living organism. So first thing is, what is life? So we can say life is a unique, complex organization of molecules expressing through the chemical reactions, right? Because many molecules are combined together and express themselves by different chemical reactions, and due to, you can say, biochemical reactions occur within the living organisms which lead to the growth, development, responsiveness, adaptation and reproduction, and sum of all these is called life. Then the question is, what is an organism? So we can say a living organism is self-replicating, right? Evolving. Self-replicating means who can make copies of itself. Evolving, who is continuously changing. Small changes are occurring in the living organisms. And self-regulating, interactive system capable of responding to the external stimuli, means the system which can respond to the external stimuli. External stimuli can be in the form of heat, pain, cold, okay? Any type of external stimuli is responded by the living organism. Then we will do about the properties of living organisms, and these are few properties of living organisms. First is growth, reproduction, metabolism, cellular organization and consciousness. So first we will start with the first property of the living organism, that is growth. So this is first property of living organisms, growth. And growth is the increase in number and mass of cells. So here number of cells increase and the mass of cell also increase. How the number of cell increase? When the cell will divide, right? Here you can see this is one cell and this is dividing into two cells. So the number of cell will increase by the division of cell, right? And also the increase in mass of cell. Before the division, a cell need to increase its mass, right? So there will be increase in mass also. So increase in number and mass of the cells is called growth, right? Now in case of plants, growth continues throughout the lifespan. As you have might seen that branches of a plant continues to grow throughout the life. Okay, so this is called indefinite type of growth and the continuous growth. Okay, so growth of the plants continues throughout the life, we can say. But in animals, growth is only up to a certain age, right? After a certain age, height doesn't increase, right? Only up to a certain age height increases. After that there is no increase in height in case of human being, if you talk about. And in general also, in case of any animal, there is growth only up to a certain age. But however, cell division occurs. It doesn't mean that growth is not occurring, means cell division is not occurring. Cell division occur to replace the lost part. Okay, so only to replace the damaged cells, only to heal up the damaged parts of the organism, cell division occur. But that cell division is not for the growing the body of the animal, right? So basically we can say that growth is increase in mass and size. But some non-living organisms also show growth in this term, because non-living organisms can also increase in mass and size. For example, some mountains and rocks can also increase their mass and size with the time. Even a pile of litter can increase in size and mass with the time. So we can say that growth is not a defining property of living organism, because it occur in non-living organisms also. Still we can differentiate growth of living and non-living organisms. We can say that in living organisms growth is from inside, while in non-living organism it can be from outer side. The next property of living organisms is reproduction. And reproduction is the production of progeny, or you can say next generation, or you can say offspring, having features similar to the parents. So that is reproduction. Organisms reproduce asexually and sexually. So reproduction can be asexual or sexual. Different organisms reproduce by different method. Now look here, these are some unicellular organisms, yeast and this is bacteria and this is yeast. So we can say in unicellular organisms growth and reproduction are same because they reproduce by cell division. As I told you that cell division is a method of growth, or cell division is known as growth, by which there is increase in number of cells and increase in mass of the organism. So here in the living in the unicellular organisms, what happened? Cell division is occurring. Okay, so it can be called growth of these living organisms. But this method is their reproduction also, because for reproduction also these organisms just divide into two cells. From one cells they make two cells. So in unicellular organisms growth and reproductions are same thing. Here these two organisms, bacteria and yeast, are dividing. So we can say this is the growth of these organisms, or we can say this is reproduction of these organisms. But many living organisms, you can say, do not reproduce. See here, this is mule. Okay, mule is produced by artificial mating of male donkey and female horse. Okay, and this mule is sterile. Sterile means not able to reproduce. Fertile means able to reproduce, and sterile means not able to reproduce. So this mule produced by the male donkey and female horse is not able to reproduce, but this mule is living. Okay, we can't say that this is non-living. Likewise, this is worker honeybee, and these worker honeybee are also sterile. Okay, these also cannot produce offspring. We can say these are also sterile. Likewise, some human couples are also infertile in their whole life period. Some human couples are not able to produce the children. Okay, so there are many examples that the living organisms are not able to reproduce. So can we say that those are non-living? No. That's why we can say that reproduction is not a perfect defining property of the living organisms, right? So growth is not a defining property. Reproduction is also not a perfect defining property. Next property of living organisms is metabolism. So metabolism is the sum total of all biochemical reactions taking place inside a living organism, or in a living system, you can say. So in a living organism many biochemical reactions occur. Okay, which type of biochemical reactions? Like for all your life processes, that can be digestion, excretion, respiration. Okay, all these life processes which are required to maintain your life. So for all these life processes, biochemical reactions occur inside the body. Now these biochemical reactions can be of two types. These reactions can be for the breaking of some substances inside your body, or these can be for the formation of some substance inside your body. Like look here, this is food. When you eat the food, this is digested inside the body. Okay, you can say this is broken down in the simpler form. Okay, and that breaking of the food into simpler substances is called catabolic pathway, right? So all the reactions which will work here to break down the food into simpler form will be called catabolic reactions, and here energy will be released Due to that will act for making the components of cells, right? Other than these catabolic pathways, there are some anabolic pathways also, and these anabolic pathways work for the formation of different macromolecules that you will study later. What are macromolecules? So different type of substances present in our body which are used to make a cell, okay, that you can say macromolecules are formed here due to anabolic reaction. So you can say if any substance is broken down, that reaction is called catabolic reaction, and the formation of any substance is called anabolic reaction or anabolism, you can say. And the sum total of all these anabolic pathways and the catabolic pathways is called metabolism, right? So these reactions, catabolic and anabolic, these reactions occur only in a living organism. No non-living organism shows such type of catabolic or anabolic pathways. Means metabolism is not present in non-living things. It is present only in living things. So we can say that metabolism is the defining feature of living organisms. So you have got the first defining feature of the living organisms, and what is that? Metabolism. Now look here, metabolic reactions can be demonstrated outside the body in a cell-free system. Okay, however, in a laboratory also, inside a test tube, we can demonstrate, we can show, you can say experimentally we can do a metabolic reaction. That will be called a cell-free system. Means that metabolic reaction is not occurring inside a cell. Okay, that is occurring inside a test tube. Isolated metabolic reactions in vitro are not living things but are living reactions. So if these metabolic reactions are occurring in vitro, means in the laboratory, in vitro means laboratory, then we will not say that these are living things. We will say these are living reactions which are occurring inside the non-living thing. That what is non-living thing? That is test tube. So inside that test tube, living reactions are occurring. Next property of living organisms is cellular organization. Every living organism is made up of cells. It can be unicellular, made up of one cell, or it can be multicellular, made up of more than one cell. But cell is the essential part, or you can say without cell there is no life. Okay, so organisms are made up of one or more cells. Those can be unicellular or multicellular. So we can say cellular organization is the defining feature of living organisms, because all the life processes that are required to maintain the life occur inside the cell only, and cellular organization is also called the defining property of the living organism. So you can say this is second defining property. After that, next is consciousness. That is next property of the living organisms. And here you see what is consciousness. It is the ability of organisms to sense their environment. Okay, means what is happening in their environment and respond to environmental stimuli. So there can be anything in the environment, that can be some fear, cold, heat. Okay, so such things which are happening in the environment, every living organisms respond to such environmental changes, and these environmental stimuli are sensed by the living organisms. These can be light, water, temperature, and chemicals, pollutants, or some other organism present in their surrounding, right? All the organisms are aware of their surroundings. So it is the defining property of living organisms. Now if you touch any non-living thing, if you there is some heat, there is some other thing, temperature is increasing or decreasing around a non-living thing, okay, then it will not respond to it. Okay, but living things respond to the change in environment. That's why we can say that the living organisms are conscious their environment and we can say consciousness is the defining property of living organisms. Now, there is difference between self consciousness and self consciousness. Okay, consciousness means just to give response to the external stimuli, means what is happening inside the environment, just giving a response to that is called consciousness. But when an organism is aware about it, okay, when an organism is aware about its own actions, then we will say that this is self consciousness. Okay, and such organisms are called self conscious organisms. Now, according to your NCERT book, only human is the organism which is having the property of self consciousness. But later on studies also show that there are many other organisms also which are self conscious, like gorilla, chimpanzee, dolphins, elephants. These organisms are also considered self conscious. So I hope this topic was clear to you. Now, based on the topic, you will need to write down the characteristics of living organisms. Okay, this is for your homework, and also read the topic from the NCERT book.